Hello, happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the SiteSwan Ask Me Anything live coaching session, where today I am here as co-founder to help answer any and all questions about the SiteSwan website building platform, as well as anything about selling websites to small businesses. And today I am joined by a potpourri of moderators who are going to help me make sure everyone here gets their questions answered or addressed in some way, shape, or form. I would also like to make sure you're aware of the questions tab on the bottom. It's got a question mark inside of a circle. That is how you're going to communicate with us today. There is no open chat, specifically because we like to keep distractions to a minimum. And also it gives you total freedom to communicate with us whatever you want to without feeling like you're being watched by others. So whatever you type is only going to be seen by myself and the moderators, and we will also respect your privacy. When we read off your question, we're only going to use first names. So to get things going, I see a lot of you who are first timers on here, which is wonderful. There is currently just shy of 30 of you on here right now. And for those of you who are new, this is going to be new to you. For those of you who have been here a few times, this will feel normal. I want to quickly take a moment and ask you for any wins, something positive, productive, helpful, anything you've come across or earned over the past couple of weeks since we last did one of these. I would like you to post it as a question. It could be as simple as something that you've learned about web design. It could be a training video you watched, something that stuck out at you, a new technique you might have implemented in some way, shape, or form, whether it was sales or design. It could be a prospect you were able to locate, a social connection you made. It could be a lead you got, a sale that you made. I would love to hear any and all wins. So you're going to post those in the questions tab. I'm going to go through them. I don't care if your win is that you just signed up with SiteSwan. Tell me when it was, okay? Give me anything positive about you running a web design business, and we will go through it. So let's take a look here. I'm actually expecting someone else on this call who had a couple of big wins. Let's see if he shows up and displays them for us. So we have one from Doug who says, I got my Stripe account set up to my account last week. You know, some people skip this step, and I always yell at them, because getting your Stripe account set up allows you the ability to do what you see here in the screen, which is to click setup on any of your client sites and actually set up a recurring and a initial processing. What am I trying to say? You can set up an upfront and recurring monthly payment for each and every client in your dashboard without having to leave the dashboard and go somewhere else. Sarah is reporting that she got a real estate client almost done with the homepage. That's fantastic, Sarah. Hope you use one of our real estate themes, which work really well for realtors. Newly just signed up yesterday and is already working on a nonprofit that works with veterans. It's going to be her focus to start. That's awesome. Well, welcome aboard, and I'm so happy you've decided to join the SiteSwan family. We do these a lot. Perfect time you could have signed up, because you're going to hear some really cool questions and feedback from people that you'll hopefully be able to take back to starting your web design business. Jason says, I made a sale to an ice cream / cookie shop yesterday that I've been speaking with for a few weeks. Picked up the check for the design yesterday. That's awesome, Jason. How much did you charge for that, by the way? I'd love to hear what everyone is charging. If you don't mind, then we can share that with the group. Dawn says, I just uploaded my website online after completing everything and already have my first client. Dawn, how long have you been with us? That's awesome. How long have you been a SiteSwan reseller before you got your first client? You know, a lot of us are, a lot of you guys are a bit in competition with each other to see who can sell their first site the fastest. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But remember, for all of those who are going into your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or even 10th week when you haven't gotten a sale yet, it might be unusual. Follow our process, and I guarantee you it's going to expedite. It's going to cut down the amount of time it's going to take you to get your first deal. If you guys are not currently using our 14-day launch plan, go look at it now. We just did a webinar on this last week. You can find it on YouTube, and you can also, I think you can, You can also get one-on-one coaching for our 14-day launch plan. If you guys don't know about this, type coaching, and I'm going to send you a link to get one-on-one coaching through the 14-day launch plan to optimize the likelihood that you're going to get your first sale inside of 2 weeks. Yes, it actually works. And yes, I have lots of stories of people who've done 3, even 4 deals in their first 14 days. It's totally 100% doable. All right, so Jason's getting back to me on that cookie and ice cream company where he usually charges $1,000, but charge these guys $800, and the monthly fee is $150. That's what I'm talking about, Jason. Excellent, excellent price point. Excellent. Michael wants to know which businesses are likely to pay $1,000 plus for our sites. My answer: just about everybody. Just about everybody. So it all depends, Michael. What it really comes down to is for some industries, okay, you are going to have a situation where they have very small margins, they don't do a lot of revenue, and every dollar counts. And in those scenarios, you might prefer to stick to the $500 range just so that you can be guaranteed a yes when it comes to pricing. But over $1,000, it's still a very fair price to pay for fully designed, fully SEO optimized, super reliable website built specifically for them. And I think there's nothing that you should be shy about walking in with $1,000 plus price point. Dawn got her first client within 2 weeks. Yes, love it. Newly's got a question we're going to get to. Sarah says, wait, there's coaching available? Yes. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, you had, okay. Well, look, I'm having my coach respond to you right now. Okay. She is going to get you a link to register with us for one-on-one coaching. Just type coaching, guys. We will send you a link. Jason's like, yeah, guys, an agency would charge like $4,000 to $6,000 for a new site. You're right. And when we say agency, we're talking about a large agency, one with multiple employees and that kind of stuff. And they're going to build you a fully custom site for at least $4,000. And here's the funny part: the site you build is probably going to look better. It's probably going to work better. It's going to get better search traffic. It's going to just be a much better value for them all around. It's going to cost them less. Melissa is also looking for the coaching link. All right, cool. So some of you were nice enough to get questions sent ahead of time. So I'm going to transition to going over that. And by the way, thank you all for volunteering your wins. The one win I was looking for was from someone, and he is not on, but he promised he would be. And he has actually sold 2 sites this week. 2, not 1, but 2. Used a plumbing theme, which our plumbing theme, guys, it's awesome. We'll just be able to plug and play that. And then did a, I forget what the other site was now. What was the other site? Hold on, I'm going to check. I'm going to check what it was. It was a, a licensed, a mental health specialist. That's what it was. 2 beautiful sites that this person launched and sold. One was a lead they got from, this is kind of cool story about this, guys. So one of those 2 sales I just mentioned by this particular person, they got their Google business profile up to date. And they just, populated with some content and some images and some frequently asked questions here and there, like nothing too crazy. He did that like 3 or 4 months ago, and all of a sudden he's got a lead that came from someone who was doing the search, found his website through the Google business profile, and was able to submit their information through the marketing site and got his first cold lead through his website, which was awesome. And he converted it to a client. So that's a really fun win. All right. So you guys came with some questions today. I'm going to go through them, preferably from the people who were able to make it today. We're going to start with Joe. Joe R., who said, is it possible to build this business without making cold calls to people? For example, just email prospecting and fulfillment. Joe, maybe. But I don't recommend it. I'll tell you what I do recommend. I recommend following the 14-day launch plan. Joe, there are going to be some things about running your own business that are going to be uncomfortable. There are going to be some things about running your own business that are going to be, I'm not going to say things you don't like doing, but things that are opportunities for growth. And we all grow and we all do better when we get kind of put into a position where we have to do some things that we generally may not want to do. I heard this quote not too long ago and it stuck with me. And it's that your success is on the other side of the things that you don't want to do or are avoiding. Your success will be found on the other side of things that you're avoiding. So if you're avoiding calling people, I would suggest you do it. Now, the good part about the 14-day launch plan is it's not just a cold calling strategy. It's a 3-part strategy that has to do with social outreach, warm outreach, which can easily be done via text, via email, via DMs and stuff like that. Also calls, emails. And then the cold calling, though, aspect, you generally will have to pick up the phone at some point if you want to maximize the likelihood for success. The only replacement for calling is a lot of money because you can run ads and get people to call you, but that requires, again, a lot of money. All right. I'm going to jump over to Chris's question. Chris, I am Chris A. I'm so happy to have you and who you represent on our call today. Really, really happy to be able to partner with you guys. So Chris is new to SiteSwan. He says it's been great. Have a few that have been sold and built. Wow, a few sites already sold and built. That's awesome. You're only a couple weeks into this, I think. However, Chris is like, I'm running into my first e-commerce company. Any red flags that I should be aware of? Yeah, run the other direction, away from that. I say that half kidding. So here's the deal with e-commerce, and I've said this before, but for everyone who hasn't heard me say this, this is your chance. E-commerce is a slippery slope and is one that if you start to get into providing e-commerce, I promise you, it's going to be a hole that you'll feel like you can never dig out of. That's the easiest way for me to say it. Here is where I would entertain the idea of doing e-commerce on a small business website. If it's ancillary, if it's secondary to the business. What's a good example? A good example I always give is a gym or fitness center that is selling t-shirts with the logo on it, or a restaurant that is selling 2 different flavors of their sauce. Those are examples of how I would suggest taking on an e-commerce client. But if you're going to be taking on a client or interested in taking on a client whose sole purpose of having a website is selling stuff from it, it's not a good fit for the SiteSwan platform, and it's not a good fit for your mental sanity, because that is going to dominate your life and existence, and it's going to make you regret ever doing web design. It's the best way I could say it. There are platforms that are specifically designed for e-commerce. So Shopify is one of them. You guys all know that. They're a publicly traded brand. They're very, very big. Good for selling stuff online. Is it easy? I don't think so, because I don't think there is such a thing as easy e-commerce. There are so many little intricacies and elements to running an e-commerce store that it's almost impossible to do it affordably, and in a way that you'll be able to effectively make money on it as a web design provider, unless this is what you live and breathe and that's all you do. Okay. Next up, we have a question from Sarah, who I believe is also on today. And Sarah asked a couple of questions. The first question was, on many of the templates, there are wavy lines and shapes under the hero section of the top of the homepage. For instance, there's an open book shape for the tutoring website. Is there a wavy line there's a wavy line in the window cleaning template? How are these created? Any tips? Yeah. So let me show you what we're doing here. Okay. So let's first define what Sarah is talking about, and then I'm going to demonstrate how it can be done. And I'll demonstrate a pro tip also. So the first thing is, let's go to, I don't know. Let's go to the site. All right. So not a good example. Not a good example. Let's do, this is an old site. Okay, here's a good example. So what Sarah's saying that she often will see some sort of decorative element below here that will function as what we call the section divider or a post transition. And the way to achieve that is just by simply clicking on the edit option, going to the style tab, scrolling down and looking for the option called section divider. From here, you can choose from about 10 different options. And I'll just demonstrate real quick how those look. So I can do a curve down, which will create this nice little thing. You can do something a little more jagged, a little more funky. You can do a slope design. You can do a tilt. You can do a wave. And you can turn these left or right too, depending on how you want this to look. Okay. So this is a very quick and easy thing. If you don't see this option, it's because you have a feature called parallax turned on. And if parallax is turned on, what it does is it kind of holds this image in place while the site scrolls. You see that? If I turn it off, then it will scroll with the page. If parallax is turned on, the section divider option goes away. They're incompatible, okay? But if I turn off parallax scrolling, then I see the section divider option. It's right here. Now, the two, I think, Sarah, you mentioned at least one that is not visible here, one of the section dividers that we don't have featured here, and that is because it's more of a custom solution. So let's look at the example that Sarah asked us to look at, which was the tutoring. Okay, so I'm going to type in tutor, and we're going to see this site. So you're going to notice that we're using a type of post transition here that is not like the ones I just showed you. So this is actually a custom image that is simply, can you see this here? I'm dragging it. It's a white image that looks like a profile view of an open book. And this is placed as an image post in between these two posts. So just to show you how that actually looks, I'm going to copy this, download this image to my desktop, and I'm going to go back to the site we were just working on. Is it going to work here? Because I have a different, let me just find one that's got a white section. There's no white section. Okay, well, you'll see. You'll see. So I'm going to add a section. I'm going to put an image, edit, and then I am going to edit this. I'm going to pull out all of my content. I do not need any content here. Okay. Pull everything out. I'm going to pull the button out. I don't need any content. And I am going to replace this image with the image that I just downloaded. You can notice it's going to look weird in here. Okay, see how it looks up here? White on a gray background. You can barely see it. I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to change my style because I want it to be the entire full width of this section. And that's about, I think that's all I want to do. And I'm going to adjust my row height to bring it all the way down. So now what's going to happen, no, actually, I want to do this one. This is what I want to do. Okay. No, what am I doing wrong? Hold on. I haven't done this in so long. I'm blanking now on what it is I'm messing up. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. There we go. So you can't see this image because the background is white also, but I'll show you how you'd be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to find let me just change my background color to black. Just to give you a quick say. This, what I would do is actually use the exact same image in the background as this, so it would just fall right into it. And then the other thing I would do is I would go to this post underneath it and make this white, so that I would actually have a beautiful transition here of this curvature into the white area. Okay, so this is how you would essentially do it. I have a couple things I got to tweak and fix up, but this is how you would do it. The reason why we got away from this technique and why we don't use this anymore is because obviously there's more steps you need to have. But by just simply utilizing the built-in functionality of these other styles that are right here on the style tab, you can have a really cool effect without having to jump through hoops. So clearly you can see why we made this transition away from it. And this book design, by the way, is one that we are working to implement as one of the built-in section dividers. So rest assured, if you really like this look, it is coming soon. Sarah says, I also like the monthly recurring revenue model of $50 a month and up, in addition to the setup fee, but I find that $50 to $75 price, it seems like people are expecting something more than the hosting and customer service fee. I'm continually having to delineate my boundaries with certain clients. Am I not laying it out clearly enough? Or maybe my market would do better with a higher initial cost and a low monthly hosting fee. From your perspective, what do you see as the most successful price wise? People's expectations have been a little all over the place lately, or maybe I'm having a mindset issue. Sarah, I would say the latter. So, when it comes to a fair monthly fee for a website, anything below $50 a month is almost laughed at by businesses because it's difficult for them to take you seriously. That's the short of it. The $50 a month price point, remember, is not just hosting. You have to remind yourself about the value that you're including. And that value actually comes through in the marketing website that you have. In the pricing section of your website, which I'm going to pull up for you. In the pricing section of your website, we have outlined for you exactly what's included with this monthly fee. And do not cut yourself short. If someone ever asks you, hey, Sarah, what is this $50 a month for? You can easily power right through this list. Well, first of all, I'm providing you worry-free cloud hosting, super secure with an SSL certificate, which means the site is fully encrypted. You also get full optimization across desktop, tablet, and mobile, something we call perpetual compatibility, which means every time a new browser, operating system, whatever hits the market, your site will be fully compatible and optimized for that. We give you real-time traffic statistics, which if you'd like, I can set up to get you automatic monthly statistic reports, drop right into your inbox. You can keep track of what's happening on your site. You can log in to make updates to your site yourself with our super simple editing interface, or just email, text, or call me, and I will make those updates for you even faster than you will do them. Plus, you get local support from a fellow business owner just like you who is committed to satisfying and exceeding the expectations of all local businesses so that you might want to refer me to somebody else. Plus, and something we don't feature on here, but something we encourage all of our clients to do, quarterly conference calls where we'll discuss how your business is evolving and making sure that the site is evolving with it. That right there, I've always said this, and I've found this to be true almost every single time. When you read this off to someone, they will cut you off and like, okay, I got it. Okay. I also have a video on this on YouTube where you can watch a little bit more in detail about how to justify the monthly fee. I think I spell it out even better than I just did for you right here. As soon as I click on videos, I will find it for you. We have an article on this too. Let me find it. Here it is. How to explain a monthly website fee to a client. Check out this video on your spare time. And I think once you watch that, you will never question again charging someone at least $50 a month. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next question, which is from Milan, if I'm not mistaken. I was corrected last time with the pronunciation of your name, and I'm sorry if I'm messing it up again. Also about e-commerce, do you have a team to do full e-commerce solutions, mobile apps, things like that? And the best I could say is no, and for good reason. I hope what I shared with you earlier makes sense to you. The platform is just not designed for e-commerce, and I find that if you do get into building an e-commerce type someone, you will be regretful. Jason is also chiming in, is like, hey, I'm building an e-commerce store for myself on Shopify, and it's super difficult compared to SiteSwan. Yes, I've heard this before. And Joe just wants me to know after we answered his question, he's like, I was on your list forever, but couldn't pull the trigger due to a lack of funds. I finally got an influx of money, so I took the leap now. I'm trying to figure out the fastest path to cash so the business pays for itself ASAP. The best tip I have for you is going to use the 14-day launch plan, which we briefly spoke about a couple minutes ago. And I want you, Joe, to type coaching as a question, and we'll get a link to you so that you can book one-on-one coaching if you haven't already with our coach who's very experienced with guiding people through the 14-day launch plan to find success. All right, next up, we got Nova Webs. I always forget your first name, but if you could just put your first name in next time, and we will be able to call you by your name and not your pseudonym. Okay. So I have a couple feature requests. Can you add options to the select drop-down menus to contact forms? If you want to do custom contact forms where you have to ask multiple different things or whatever, like instead of just having name, email, and phone number or a couple of other text fields, my best suggestion is to go to the resources section of your dashboard and scroll down to the marketplace. My favorite one right now is called Cognito Forms. If I could just find them. Are they here? Right here. Cognito Forms. They have a great form builder. It's super easy to build out. And if you need to do anything additional, collect photos, even actually charge people through a form, you can definitely do that. And the other question that came through is, how do you handle two small businesses close to each other? And how does it affect SEO? For example, two nail salons in the same city. So when you're taking on two clients in the same city, in the same industry, there are oftentimes differentiators between them. They are going to have certain things that they prefer over the other. Long story short, though, is that your market, like most markets, is very much large enough to accommodate two busy nail salons. So your goal is going to be to make those two nail salons the busiest in your entire city. Okay? Simple as that. There's no way that one of those nail salons can service all of the people who have nails they want to make nice in your city. So your job is to make them the number one and the number two. It doesn't matter which is which. They'll probably take turns, but ultimately that's your job, is collectively trying to make them both succeed. And techniques you find on one, because maybe one specializes in highly intricate art, or one specializes in an optimal pedicure procedure. You are going to feature that in your and on that site as opposed to the other site. Jim says, what assistance, by the way, that was Tina. Thank you. Jim says, what assistance is available for businesses that we do not have a template for? For example, there's a guideline for putting together a website for a seller of repo trailers. So check this out. In addition to your ability to customize sites using any theme and just simply swapping out the content and images and stuff like that, you also have what are called our blank canvas themes, which are giving you a head start from a layout perspective. You just have to plug in some photos and plug in some content. But if you want a site that is perfectly designed for an industry you're appealing to, then I would suggest that you contact us for a custom theme design. Now, at any point in time, anybody here can ask us to build a new theme for a new industry, and we'll happily put you on the list. The thing is, that list is long. So we developed this program where if you have a theme that you really want done and you're willing to pay 99 bucks, we will push it to the very, very top of the list, and we will bang it out in less than a week. And that's exactly what's happened with pretty much the last 40 or so themes that you see here, is that people just like you said, wait, I got to have a theme for this industry. They put up 99 bucks. We prioritized it. Next thing you know, it's a beautiful new theme that, I mean, come on, like if you guys could find a better looking website on the internet for a delivery and assembly service website, I will give you 50 bucks. Like, we work so hard on these to make these look the absolute best for this industry. And I think you're going to appreciate that once you see how things come together, building a site for business in this industry. Christy says, is there a way to modify or put in a special request to modify the call map hours bar that appears on mobile versions to include different links there. We had a client ask about that recently, and we told him that we probably couldn't, but wanted to make sure. Christy, out of curiosity, what did they want to do? Please don't tell me that they wanted to put social icons there and then take people off of the site. I've heard that one before. I'm like, wait, you're telling me you work so hard to get people to your site, and then the first thing you're going to let them do is click off your site to social media? How does that make any sense? So I would be curious, because the one big thing that you want to make sure you're doing is giving people those big three things. Let's call, right? Because that shows that the site is working. Let's email. We're collecting information, showing the site is working. Or let's find your location, which, hey, if we can get them to our physical location to get them to spend money in our location, it's exactly what we want. Those are the three biggest things that have been proven time and time again. Consumers are wanting to see as soon as they get to a small business website. Christy, if you can convey to the client that this is in their benefit because they'll get more phone calls, more emails, and more people walking in as a result of these icons, then that should hopefully eliminate the need for them to nag you about it. But if you insisted on having something different, the best thing I could say to do is to turn off that feature, which is something you can do. Okay, I'm just going to quickly demonstrate that for you now. So, did we move this? No, we didn't. All right, let me show you what we're talking about, by the way. Okay, this way there's no confusion. So this site, if I make it, hold on. If I make it small, you're going to see that we have call, map, and hours automatically appearing here. That's by design, so someone who comes to the site can quickly call, visit the map, check their hours. There's also another one for email. So this is what happened. But I can make a change to modify this. So if I go back to my SiteSwan dashboard and I go to click on site details and then click edit, you are going to see an option that allows me to make a change, which we moved. Hold on, we moved this. Am I going? Hold on. Where did we put it? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. It's right here, right in front of my face. We're going to move it. It's still here. Show icons for call, map, hours, and email on small screens. So if I uncheck that, because it's not the best place for it, is it? I'm going to save it. And then when I go back to the site, you will see that if I shrink it down, I no longer have those icons there. And then if you wanted to get crazy, you can add like a hero bar or a text bar and make it right in here as the very first section you appear, and then put whatever the heck it is you want that person, you let people do. I wouldn't recommend more than one or two things. You can either use, I'll probably use words in that case, or buttons, and put them right at the top. I don't think this is a perfect solution. I don't think it's what's a good solution for any small business, but I'm just putting it out there as something you could potentially do, is to just hide those icons altogether, and then have some sort of, again, a new section up here, or add the wording to the hero image, perhaps, of the thing that they want people to do so badly. That's what I would suggest. Next question. This is going to Jamie, and she's got 3 questions. One is very similar to one we just heard, which is it possible to add checkboxes and drop-down menus to the contact forms? No, not right now. Maybe in the future, but in the meantime, go to Cognito Forms, and you can build whatever the heck you want in terms of a form. Jamie says also, is it possible to add a section to collect emails for a mailing list? So let's dig into what you mean by that. So if you want to collect email addresses for a mailing list, you're trying to collect email addresses so you can blast out emails to everybody on the list, okay? And it's a pretty good marketing technique, and also something that will afford you the ability to upsell your client to other things, like email marketing. You can actually handle all of their email marketing, design the emails, send them out, all sorts of fun stuff. There's several different resources I'm going to recommend that you would use for email marketing. Let's see if we have links to them here. The first one is MailChimp right here. So MailChimp allows you to be able to set up an email list for your client. And then once you have the email list set up, they'll give you a little link or a widget of code that is going to generate a form that people can fill in their email address and click sign up. So because of the fact that in order to collect emails, you have to have a list somewhere to keep them. You have to first create that list using a service like MailChimp, and then they handle the acquisition channel for adding people to that list. How do you then take that widget they give you and add it to your site? It's very simple and straightforward, and I'll show it to you. On any site at any time, you will be able to go to the site and then click the add section option, and you are now going to look for HTML. And when you find that, you're going to select it and click add to site, and then just edit it. So you take the MailChimp code, you highlight all this, delete it, paste in the code here. You're going to call this MailChimp. And then this is going to generate that form. You can even dial down your row height a little bit to keep this a little bit tighter. I would not put it very first thing on the page. You'd find a better spot for it, but ultimately you get the idea is you can easily add this to any site you're working on that they have an email list they're trying to add people to. Jamie also says it would be helpful to have a blog section that's pre-formatted for blog posts. I can't argue with that, Jamie. You're probably right about that. But I would once again defer you to or point you to the blog page of your marketing website, where we do have a framework for how you can build out blog pages and also what we call blog previews. So what these are image posts. These are image posts. And all it is an image, a title, text, and a text link. And these are going to new pages on your site that you would add from pages. Add new page, give it the name of the blog title. And on this page, which you'll see are hidden from the navigation bar, you would add your image, add your title, add your description. It's basically two posts. It's an image post on top. This is at least the way we do it. Image post on top, a text post underneath it, and that's your page. Done. Now that this page is created, you can then go back to your blog page, add the preview, and then link the title, link this, link them all if you want to that new article that you just created. How do you do that? Just want to show you. My image link is determined by this. First of all, I don't have to have an image link. I can have it do nothing or just enlarge or whatever. I choose page on my site as the type of link, and I choose the page. These are all the pages of your site listed right here. I would choose the page that aligns with where I'm trying to point people to, make sure it's selected, and then save that. The exact same process would be for this text. I'm simply doing the exact same thing. I'm linking it to the page on my site that's named the same thing. And then, of course, the button. If I choose to have a button, I could do that. My title is the exact same way. Okay? And make sure those three things are pointing to that new page. And just to reiterate one more time, what I showed you was that this is a new page on your site. And when you look at the edit option, you are going to see, when I go to my page, manage pages, when I go to the edit function for this site, you'll see that it says show page and navigation is turned off. Otherwise, I would see this long title in my navigation, which, as I'll show you right now, may not look the best. Doesn't really make sense. We generally don't show blog titles in navigation. We just simply link to it from the blog page of the site. We also do have an article that talks specifically about how to add blogs to your website. If you were to go to support.siteswan.com or linked from the help center in your dashboard and you type in blog, we have a step-by-step for how to create a blog on your website. All right, let's see. Mark says, what service can I use to offer monthly local directory submissions? I see some website designers offer site submission to 100 local directories for 99 bucks. All right, so there's a lot. There's a lot of them. If you Google directory listings, you'll see there's a lot of companies that cater to agencies, web developers who want to offer this as an add-on service. And just to help everyone else understand what Mark's talking about, There are a bunch of directories that exist on the internet that are specifically designed to help people, help businesses get backlinks to their site and get more exposure for their company. So in an ideal scenario, if I'm searching the internet for a Marasco Ready Mix, I will not only see their website, but I'll see the other nine search results on page one will be confirming a Marasco Ready Mix as a business. All these different directory sites will truly validate the existence of this business and makes the buyer, the consumer, feel a lot better about deciding to click on their website, and also could see, again, consistent information across the board. It's great for SEO. Probably not as great as it used to be 5 or 10 years ago, but it's still a really good way to help sites get more exposure. Off the top of my head, I can think of maybe one or two that I just personally know of. I can't outright recommend them. One is called a Bright Local, BRIGHT. The other one is called Sign Up, SYNUP. I've seen these out and about. I don't know what they charge per client where you can afford to make money on 99 bucks. I'm not sure. Another one is Yext, which I'm positive you will not be able to make money on 99 bucks a month. I think that they charge about that for the service. So check those three out to start, see where you get, do some more Google searches, and read some reviews. All right, next question. Let's hop back to the questions you guys are. Mike's here. Hey, Mike. Mike's just closing deals left and right. He's too busy to do these. All right. So Newly says, how long does it take for sites to show up on search engines? I completed my site and finished my company email. So it depends is the best answer, which I'm sure you don't want to hear. But basically, it revolves around a couple of key things. The first thing is if it's a brand new domain name or not. The second thing is if you're going into a highly competitive landscape. So if I'm an Italian restaurant in New York City, okay, I probably shouldn't expect to have my site come up at the very top in a week. It's just not realistic. It's not fair. There's Italian restaurants that have had their sites on the first page for the last 20 years. Why should I, a brand new restaurant, all of a sudden get precedence over them? Doesn't make any sense. So you have to kind of earn your way to the top by proving your longevity, proving your commitment, update the site frequently. But it generally just takes time. Now, just because it doesn't show up on the first page of search results doesn't mean that the site is invisible to the search engines, because they will index you at some point. And then once they index you, then it's about getting that march up to the top or as high as you could possibly go. One of the things that will expedite and enhance that is something that we have, which is called search engine submission. So for any of your sites, you can opt to submit it to the search engines on a one-time basis or on a monthly recurring basis, which is obviously the better option, which will constantly remind the search engines, hey, come to my site, check it out, scan it, do whatever you got to do, pull data from it, feature me in results. And this is going to expedite the process for getting the site found in search. But it ultimately is very much a game of patience when you're just starting out, unless you're willing to spend big bucks on advertising, which most people are not. And let's also be honest about one thing as well, Newly, is that when you are first starting your web design business, the vast majority of the opportunities you're going to have are not going to be from people coming to your site. It's going to be you reaching out to them, going through the 14-day launch plan. This is how you're going to find success with recurring income, is going out there, finding those clients, closing deals without relying on people to come to you. Go knock on some doors. Don't wait for them to knock on yours. All right. Let's see what else we got. Conrad is saying, hey, at the very bottom of my homepage, in the footer section, it's saying my full government name. Surely there must be a way to replace it, or is that the standard? There 100% is. So if you look on the bottom of the site, okay, you are going to see that we have 2025 copyright, and it's designed by, and then this is the business name that we chose for this SiteSwan reseller. If you want to change that, you are going to go to account and private labeling, and right here, you're going to modify your company name, which is actually going to populate throughout your entire dashboard. And then this right here is what people are going to see when it says designed by. You can customize this 100% to say whatever you want. So Conrad, if you have a business name for your agency, for your web design business, this is where you're going to put it. And then you're going to link to your marketing website that you hopefully by now have launched. Okay? You do not have to use your personal name anywhere. You can totally scratch it from everywhere. Another place where sometimes, like if you sign up for SiteSwan and you weren't sure what you're going to call your business, you just put in your name. Okay? If you're one of those people, you're going to find that your demo URL likely also says your full name. So what this means is that if you look at like this sample example we give here, where we have the site name dot demo URL dot multisiteadmin.com. Okay, I'll give you this example right here. This is a way for you to share a site with a potential client before it goes live with professionalism. If this has your first and last name, it's marginally less professional. So if you want to update this section of your URL for all of your demo sites, you're going to change this. You just have to be mindful. If you change this, all the links you might have already sent to someone, which there really shouldn't be that many, any links you've already sent out in the wild will no longer work. And they will have to use the new URL. Okay? Hopefully that answers your question, Conrad. If it doesn't, ask it a different way so I know I can answer it properly. All right. Bill is saying, we've got a lot of questions. I am doing my best here, guys. I am so trying. Michael, you're the last one who submitted questions ahead of time. I'm going to jump to those in just a minute. Michael A, for the 5 or 6 mics that are on this call today. All right, Bill says, can you add chatbots to the site? You sure can. A couple of fast and easy ways that we are aware of are built right into the marketplace, and I'll just point them out to you. You have this one, chatbot. You have actually a few of them, live chat, fresh chat, chat. All 3 of these would be probably good options for you to implement if that's something you wanted to do, and of course, resell to your client. All right, let's talk about Michael's questions. Michael started off by asking, should we set up an LLC immediately? And Michael, we just recently answered this question in a brand new training video, which is available right here. And it's business setup basics for SiteSwan resellers. We realize this is a common question. The short answer is you will probably not regret setting up an LLC. Even if God forbid you decide you're not going to do SiteSwan anymore, you will probably make good use of an LLC in the future at some point. So it's probably not bad practice. However, it is not required. And if it's going to bog you down mentally or physically because of the labor or a couple of bucks it costs to get the LLC registered and filed, then don't do it. Just focus on running your business, closing some deals. The way most states work from a tax perspective is that all they care is that you are claiming the income that you have. They don't care if it's a business. They don't care if it's not. The benefit of having a business, there are some, including tax benefits, but the other benefits are that it just might come off a little more professional. If you are charging them via credit card, that you could change anyway on Stripe. But there are some marginal benefits to having an LLC from the customer's perspective. It would mostly just be for your sake if you wanted to do that. Michael also says, if we don't want to place our home address as our business address on our website, can we use the SiteSwan address in Syosset? Definitely not. No, you don't want to use an address that's not yours. That would be not so good. Some people do have this concern about their personal address, and I will just tell you this, and I've spoken to a lot of small business owners who also have this concern. What do I mean? Carpet cleaners, landscapers, electricians, they don't oftentimes have a physical address that their business is at. They work from home. They have a home office. And they always will say, like, oh, I don't know if I should have my address. Listen, nobody's coming to your place of business to ask you about your electrical services or to ask you about your landscaping services or about carpet cleaning. They're not doing it. They don't care. They will look at the address and they'll say, all right, they're local. They're not going to care. Same is true for web design. No one's going to come on your door and say, hey, can we talk about a website? They're not going to do it. They're going to call you. They're going to message you. They're going to do something else long before they ever thought that they would visit you. And having the full address on the site, the reason why it's so good is it's telling Google your physical location and that you are present. You are physically close to other businesses. So if you want any chance of being found in the future in local search, the best thing you could do is feature your home address because you're offering full transparency, which is highly, highly valued by the search engines, including Google. Michael also says, can we change the account that Stripe is connected to? Yes. Bank account, yes, 100%. If you're talking about the Stripe account you've connected to in your SiteSwan dashboard, you can technically do that too. It's a heck of a lot easier if you haven't already charged someone with the Stripe account you are connected with. If you can't figure out how to do it, because you'll see like a button to disconnect Stripe over here somewhere. If you can't, this right here, disconnect from Stripe. See how it's grayed out because I've already charged people? If I have not charged anyone, I'll be able to click disconnect from Stripe. Michael says, where can I change the URL address that's in my dashboard? I just showed you that. Is there a referral? Can you? Sorry, I didn't read these beforehand, so I'm just getting to them now. My apologies. What does an error message mean when you check to see if a client's website is mobile friendly in the local prospecting tool? We don't actually show you an error message. We just show you what it looks like right now. So that we don't have an error message. The only error message that we show or check on is if the SSL certificate is not valid. That's a really good reason why you should target a business. If they let that lapse, then chances are they're letting other things lapse and they're ready for a switch. Michael also wants to know, is there a referral fee for introducing someone to join SiteSwan? We don't have a formal referral or affiliate program, but if you have someone who you feel is interested, reach out to us in a support ticket. And if they pull the trigger and join us as well, we'll definitely make sure we take care of you. And and then the last question that Michael had was, can we create our websites to book appointments or deliveries like doctors and restaurants? So when it comes to food ordering, just let the food ordering services take care of that for you. I'll show you what I mean. If I go to create a new site and I choose the restaurant theme, of which we have many different restaurant themes, you are going to see that each and every one of them is going to have an option to place an order online for ordering food. And we just have simple links to Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Seamless. If you wanted to swap one of these out with Grubhub or any other service that's being utilized, that is the end of it. Let those services handle the process for purchasing food online. For booking, it's very similar. Oftentimes, if a business has any sort of appointment taking procedure, they likely have a software element to that. And if you ask them to look at the software they're using to manage their appointments, 9.5 times out of 10, there is a web widget they had no idea that's part of the software that can be copy and pasted either with a link or a block of code onto the website you're building for them. So you can have a button or something that says click here to make an appointment, and it takes them right to that third-party service to book the appointment. Seamless integration with their existing billing system. You don't have to lift a finger, but yet you look like the hero. Let's get to the last few questions before we wrap up. Newly says, if building a site for a small business that needs an Office 365 SharePoint connection, is it as simple as link adding? What the heck is SharePoint? I actually don't know this question. Microsoft SharePoint is what? I don't know what that is. Microsoft SharePoint. Does anyone know? I have no idea. Anyone? No? All right. Well, it's new internet for companies using internal New companies using internal. I would say that submit a support ticket with that, and we can help you dig into it a little bit, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I was thinking PowerPoint too. I'm like, is it PowerPoint? I have no idea. Submit a ticket, and we'll dig into it. Let's see what else. Ba-bum. Mike says, the client I just closed 15 minutes ago, holy cow, has an issue. The previous business owner for the nail salon has a Google profile with a different name. Aha. Should my client make a new one or change the current one? The old one is also a nail salon, only difference is the name, same location. I am going to suggest you first attempt to change the name if there is more than one positive review. And it's not like a 2-star rating. Longevity of the profile, I think, does play a role in its effectiveness. So I would try to do it. Just be prepared. This is just personal experience. I know this. If you go to update the name of a business on the Google business profile, you may be asked for some sort of proof. So if they could take a photo of the front of the building with the sign up, if they could take a photo of a print piece they might have with the logo on it, take a screenshot of the website where it shows the physical address and the business name at the same time, you might need to provide some proof that in fact the name has changed on that physical location. Joe says, I have a 13-year-old domain name. Yeah, I've been trying to make this business for a long time. I've done a number of different things with it over the years. Is it better to use the age domain or create a new one? As long as it hasn't been hacked or been on a nefarious server, I would no need to buy a new domain name. No need at all. Just stick with what you got. Cool. Any last questions before we wrap? Andre's like, I too just closed a new account right now. However, the client wants to keep their email with the current provider, but can I still alter the other DNS records? Yes, 100% you can. Let me just see if I can log in to show you how and why you can do that. Give me a second. So I don't know where they're registered with, but I'm just going to log into Cheap and Easy Domains to show you what it's like. And I'll give you my quick overview of what you would expect to see when you're logged in making changes, okay? All right, so let's say I'm in the DNS for my client's domain name, all right? What you are going to probably see are going to be MX records. You're going to see MX records like this, and these are going to point to whatever their email is hosted by. SecureServer.net is usually a GoDaddy solution for email. You might see Exchange. You might see Gmail or Google Mail, and that is going to be powered by Google in that sense. So these MX records are what determines where the email for the domain is run or hosted by. The only thing that you are going to be editing are going to be your A records, which are these, and your CNAME record for www, which is this. These have no impact on email. No impact. The only situation where you might run into a potential very, very unlikely problem is if they are accustomed to going like mail.mydomain.com to access their email, then it's possible that the previous host has set something up for that to be redirected. So if they're accustomed to using webmail, and it's on a subdomain of their domain name, depending what it is, it may be affected when you move the site over. It's unlikely, but I just want to put it out there as a very small possibility. But otherwise, they're going to get their email just fine. The email will be fully functional. They can still check it from their phone, check it from Outlook or mail, whatever it is. It has no actual impact on the site. and basically any SiteSwan site's fully compatible with any third-party email service. If you are even the slightest bit hesitant about making changes before putting the site live, reach out to our support, get us the login info, and we will help you make sure that the changes you're about to make will not affect the website, the email in any way. We're more than happy to help you with that. Michael was clarifying the SharePoint thing, which is companies share docs internally. So I'm not sure if it's like an intranet where you have to log into it. Then you just can definitely put a button or a link or something like that that would take them to that Microsoft SharePoint experience. Matter of fact, I'm looking online. It looks like it's just microsoft.sharepoint.com. So in that case, you just put a link. But again, I'm not sure if you really want to put that on the website. If you would put it anywhere on the website, I'll tell you where I might expect for you to put it would be in the very, very bottom, maybe in the footer area. So like what's cool is like, see where this privacy policy link is? This is actually a hidden page on the site, but we link to it with a text link in the footer. That's basically any site you build in the platform is going to have this. We put a text link in the footer area that goes to a hidden page on the site. So you could do something very similar to that. Do a line break underneath this and do employee login or employee SharePoint or whatever it is. Highlight that text, link it to whatever I just said, sharepoint.microsoft.com or microsoft.sharepoint.com, and you're good to go. All right. All right. Before we wrap up, do me a quick favor here. And you have to be connected to that domain to be able to access the SharePoint site. Oh, okay. I still don't know what that means, Conrad. Thank you, though, for offering that. So whoever's doing the SharePoint thing, submit a ticket to us before you point the site live. We'll do our best to understand how to help you with that. Sorry, I'm new to this. All right. Before we wrap up, give me one quick takeaway you got from this session today. If it was a question you heard someone else say, some motivations from someone else who got a site sold today, from an answer you heard, from whatever, the fact that you didn't realize you had coaching available to you, whatever it is that you feel like you might have been able to take away from today's discussion, I would love to hear it so we know that we're focusing on the right stuff or we're not, and then we can modify. Final thoughts before we wrap up. Now, remember, guys, we're going into a holiday weekend. All right. So I don't want to hear any excuses about how I can't go out and sell today or tomorrow. You have Monday. Okay. You have Monday. Use it to get out there, talk to people, do the 14-day launch plan, close some sales. Michael says this was great. Thank you. Sarah says my takeaway is to follow the process. 110%. Conrad is sell, sell, sell. Yes, that's right. Andre appreciates that DNS records can be pointed to different platforms. Michael appreciates that everyone will pay $1,000 plus. Michael says, got here late, but just happy I found SiteSwan. We're happy you did too. Ernie says, no questions, just a quick thank you for these sessions of Ask You Anything. My pleasure. Michael appreciates the thoughts on getting an LLC and using your home address. Cool. We all got something from this. So I'm just going to highlight one more time. We do have these 2 new training videos in the dashboard. Go check them out if you haven't already. They're all about domain names and all about business setup. It's funny, 2 questions came up, and technically these new videos answer those questions. Oh, for everyone who's still here, a couple little bonus things I want to reveal to you. We have a couple new features. Okay, I think we formally announced one of them, but people miss our emails. So let me just quickly show you. So if you're looking to add an image to any of your client websites, and this works for single image posts only at the moment, okay? Let me show you what I mean. If I click to edit this post and I click on style, you will see these brand new crop options. So formerly you had the ability to make an image square, you can make it landscape, you can make it portrait, you can make it circle, but now you can make a diamond, or you can make an arch out of it. Let me move this over. You make an arch, and again, you can go a little smaller. If you don't want it to be, half the screen, you could do that. You could do hexagon shape. Then these are like my favorite, the organic shapes. These are really cool. Okay, so you have 3 different shapes here you can choose from. And then we also have a teardrop as well, which is cool. We just did this on a brand new theme we just launched. So guys, use it. These are cool. Only works on image posts at the moment. Image posts only. Michael's asking about that YouTube video. If someone, my moderators, just check our YouTube and just find that link for Michael and then post it in there, please. That's the first thing. The second thing is I briefly showed it before, but let's just say you had a page on the site that you didn't want visible to the search engines. You could go into your Manage Pages dropdown. You can edit this and then select the option to hide from search engines. Sometimes people have some, I'm going to call it sensitive information that may be strictly something they would like to have on the site where it's portable and they can send people to, like a pricing guide or something, but they don't want anyone to just find it if they do a search for it. So, because sometimes SiteSwan sites are so good at performing in search that even the pages you don't want to be found can still get found. So if you hide the page from the search engines, this page would be invisible to Google, Yahoo, Bing, and everybody else. It's called no index. But still, if you're on the site, you can still visit it and access it. So that's a cool thing we just rolled out along with those image crop options. Hope you like it. Hope you enjoy it. And that's about it. Everyone, have a great weekend. Have a nice holiday. If you're off on Monday or having a half day or a partial day or whatever you're doing, I don't know. I'm working. And if you're not in your full-time job or a part-time job, then certainly hack away at your web design business because it's a great time to be selling websites to small businesses. All right. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you all. A recording will immediately play as soon as I'm done. Cue that in 3, 2, 1. See